It's like completely different.
Like a brand new car.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, CenterForce. Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to my video. My name is Kayla Rundle. Today I am in Prescott, Arizona at CenterForce, and this is Trent. He is inside CenterForce and he's about to give me a nice little tour and tell me all the behind the scenes of what goes into making all the CenterForce clutches. He's the mastermind behind everything, so we're gonna let him do all the technical talking, and then I'll give my insight and give him lots of questions.
Yeah, I don't know about there's a lot of good people here. I know enough about how this place runs to be dangerous, but there's a lot more experts than I am. But yeah, no, it should be fun.
Perfect, we can bother everybody then.
That's right.
And I have my Camaro behind me. I brought it in because I'm having a little bit of hydraulic issues at LS Fest. I had problems with my stock clutch with my slave cylinder. You can see the clutch is usually where my hand is, but the clutch is all the way to the ground and it has zero resistance, enough to where I barely tap it with my finger, it goes all the way to the floor. So I couldn't even get my foot behind there to lift it all the way up. And you can't get it into any gear at all. And I put in a new CenterForce clutch. And I'm still running into hydraulic issues, so CenterForce reached out to me and they are going to be working with me to fix the issues on my car. So thank you so much for that.
We're just gonna, basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna update the hydraulics with actually a prototype that we are building in-house, so we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, we should show that. All right, well, let's go check out some behind the scenes.
Sure.
And they have the CenterForce Camaro, the 5th gen here.
Oh yeah.
I know this Camaro from like 6 years ago from Camaros in the Bridge, which is an event that they have here in Arizona. So
yeah. This is the CenterForce Express, by the way, our old van. But yes, that's our Camaro.
This van's amazing. I've never seen it before.
Yep. It's for sale if anybody wants to buy it.
Oh, it's dusty. It needs love.
Yeah, it sits a lot, unfortunately, but it's been a good car.
Great car.
It's a supercharged Lingenfelter engine of some kind. It's equipped with an SST just like yours is. So same clutch.
Same exact thing?
Yeah.
I wonder which one's faster.
I don't know. It probably starts you in the flywheel department. So we do all of our flywheels in-house. So they actually start life as these just chunks of steel. I mean, just solid billets of steel. And so that's how we get them. We have our series of machines over here that machine all the different processes to make a finished flywheel. But what started life as those solid chunks over there is now just a machine piece that's ready to go. You know, we'll even press on or weld on the rings. All the machining is done in-house. With all the billet steel ones, they're all SFI certified. So, you know, they're not gonna go apart or anything like that. And then we also do aluminum flywheels as well. It's pretty much for racing only. I wouldn't recommend putting one in your car because I know you drive it a lot on the street. More like a dedicated track car kind of thing. But you want to talk about quick revving and all that. They're neat, but they're not
noisy,
very forgiving.
Right?
Yeah, but they're not very forgiving. These are pressure rings for pressure plates, but these are getting ready to get machined. Basically what we do is we go in and machine these ridges. So the diaphragm, the part with the fingers on it,
right,
it rides on top of this ring, okay? And it uses these ridges as the fulcrum point. And so what we do is we go in and we change the position of the fulcrum point, and we also machine this to accept ball bearings. So instead of the diaphragm just riding on these ridges, they'll then ride on ball bearings, so it basically reduces friction inside, it improves engagement, and then moving the fulcrum around allows us to adjust how quickly or gradually the clutch engages. So lots of little tricks and things like that.
And is that more CenterForce specific, or is that...
Yeah, so yes, the ball bearing technology is a patented CenterForce process.
Amazing. So funny, I feel like I've been seeing so many CNC machines all across the country lately.
So this is our disc department.
Good, how are you? Good.
All the discs are absolutely done in-house. So basically it starts with the friction material, gets attached to these rings, comes in just sheets. we have a die that will cut the various shapes that we need. Believe it or not, this yellow stuff is adhesive. They'll specially coat this with like a yellow anodized looking stuff. They'll place the friction material on there, and then it all goes in these ovens behind you. We'll basically bake the friction material onto those rings, and it's something like 360 degrees at 2,000 psi. So I mean, they're in there for about 12 minutes a piece. Wow. So once the individual disc halves are done, they'll go over here, but they'll do the final assembly of the discs here. They'll actually go on, this is obviously the center of the disc. The hub gets riveted on. These springs are also very important, believe it or not. The springs actually provide some dampening. But you'll notice here that these wings aren't perfectly flat. They actually have some shape to them. Once the friction material discs are riveted on here, but it's actually got some squish in it. That squish is called Marcel. It impacts how quickly and how gradually the clutch engages. So doing things like adjusting the Marcel for a particular application can either greatly improve or reduce, just depends on what we're after in terms of the overall feel of the disc. The Marcel is what it's called.
So to increase it, you just have to make this more jagged?
Yeah, these guys will sit here and hand put the different curves and stuff in the wings, just depending on what's required. It's that hand-built attention to detail that kind of makes us different.
Love that. So. Have you changed your design over time with like the change of technology?
There has been some improvements over the years, of course. I mean, you know, things like our twin discs, like what's in your car, those didn't exist, you know, when we started, at least not in the performance car world. You know, our dyads, which is the super double throwdown, twice blown Mac Daddy product line.
The one everybody talks about, I feel like, from CenterForce. Yeah,
so those are relatively new. I'm going to say new within the last 10 years or something like that. But really the newest product that we have is the SST, and that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to put one in your car. It's well within the power levels.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Up to like a little bit over 900 horsepower on that clutch that I'm in, and I'm sitting at 600 wheel, 750 crank, so it's like perfect for a street clutch, going on the track sometimes. So.
Yeah, and the dyads are really nice too, but the dyads, they're really high end and they're expensive as a result. It's basically an entry-level twin that's more than capable of handling the power that you're putting out or whatever. Still very streetable. It won't break the bank, you know.
Right.
Some of those higher end dyads are $1,700.
What's the biggest difference between the dyad and then the SST?
It's going to be the clutch discs are different. The process is a little bit different. The pressure plates are very different. That's really more racing oriented.
What makes it higher end though? Is it like more lightweight? Does it last longer?
Sometimes no. It's mostly holding capacity, clamping load, you know, things like that. The SST will be 950 foot-pounds of torque of holding capacity. The dyads get up into 1,500-1,600. But it's one of those things you don't need, for drag racing and things like that. But you don't need that, you know, and you sacrifice so much, especially on you get into cerometallic material, that's just basically an on-off switch, you know. Whereas it's still organic, still very streetable.
Do you drive manual? Do you drive manual?
Yes.
Yay!
We love. Remember that little car?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's a stick.
So I love it.
That's so awesome. That should be like an employee necessity over here.
Right.
You're not allowed to work here unless you drive clutch.
We encourage it.
Yeah.
Over here is our final production, or final assembly, I should say. This is where basically everything gets boxed up, QC'd for one last time. Individual components get put together. This is going to be an SST. These two are both SSTs, like what's in your car. So the gold happens over here in the little paint area.
That was the best when I open up the box and it's like, oh.
This is where our pressure plates get painted. And then over here is another machine area. So they're actually running, looks like dyads, right? Or dyads or SSTs right now. One of the things with the twins, especially, is that it's very important that they're balanced properly, and that's actually what Mike's doing right now. There's a machine it's a fixture basically. What he does is he assembles the flywheel, the floater, and the pressure plate. And then it shows how in or out of balance that it's going to be. If it needs to be balanced, either add weight to the pressure plates or remove them from the flywheel, it just depends on the situation. Every one of our twins, whether it's a dyad or an SST, all gets balanced. And
every individual one is not like every 500 or...
And then once it's balanced, he actually marks it so that you know you have to line up the marks when you put it all back together.
I remember seeing that.
Oh, the pink
That's
marker?
why,
Yeah.
Or the red, but like everyone in the shop said. I was like, it's pink.
Right.
And then you have that little pink paint up there just to make sure you put it in on the right way. Lots of noise.
Just like the crankshaft when we were balancing the crankshaft.
Yeah, the crankshaft, the way he's balancing it, it only spins this way.
The dyad flywheels, you'll notice these are actually have material removed from them. This is basically to reduce inertia. So by having these big windows here, we're physically lightening up the flywheel, but they are lighter than stock. And so that's just so it can rev quicker and things like that. This is the pressure ring. This is what the clutch disc actually rides against. In a lot of cases, what we do is this is actually the ring with the hat removed. This machine primarily goes in and it will machine these ridges that the diaphragm physically rides on, and we'll put ball bearings in here so that the diaphragm, the part with the fingers on it, will actually ride on ball bearings within the pressure ring itself. That reduces friction, improves engagement, things of that nature.
So that disc on the inside of that's what will wear down when you like roast your clutch, basically.
This, yeah. Well, but the clutch is that's iron, so it's probably not gonna
Really?
wear very much. But the disc is what will.
Those
will
little
take the brunt
pads will just kind of like wear down.
Wear
so
down.
Nothing like brake pads.
Right, exactly, and it's actually very similar to brake pads. In fact,
Yeah.
So.
And for other companies, sometimes you have to adjust your own slave cylinder to fit their specs.
That is
But
correct.
with CenterForce, at least in my case, I didn't have to adjust anything. It was just like a complete swap.
We always go after the factory, whatever the factory installed height is. And if that's the case, then you know that way you're not having to do anything custom. With some of the aftermarket hydraulics you'll see out there, like the Tiltons, and those require, a lot of measurements and and unfortunately we get a lot of phone calls about them, just because it's one of those things. There's very few ways to get it right, but there's a whole bunch of ways to do it wrong.
Yep.
And it's a lot of math, and it can be very tricky, and it's very easy to screw up.
I've been recommended the Tilton, the slave cylinder, obviously with my slave cylinder issues, by a lot of people, but
Sure.
then they say to adjust the Tilton, you have to pull the entire transmission
Yes.
to adjust it
Yes.
once you start wearing down the clutch. So
Yes.
I don't want to pull the trans, every other month. If you're racing every weekend, it'll
Yeah.
wear really fast.
I don't think an adjustable would serve you well. That's why we're
Yeah.
going to that upgraded factory piece. I think that's we're pretty confident that'll solve your problem.
Yeah, I think JR Performance, they were telling me it has like a tolerance. Like your slave cylinder, I don't know, like it changes as the clutch wears. It has like a longer distance. Versus the Tilton is very short, so once it gets past that threshold, you'll start.
Yes, he's
Completely.
right. Yeah, I don't know how
to describe it properly, but
Yeah, no, you're right. Because the Tilton has a very specific threshold. Factory or factory style bearings are a lot more forgiving, and so he's correct. They'll kind of self-adjust as the clutch wears, where those Tiltons, those aftermarket ones are just very, very specific. So yeah,
it'll last a lot longer. The
yeah.
CenterForce one.
a lot more painless too.
Yeah, that's exactly what I need. So get their insight to see if they like driving the car.
Yeah.
Or if they're gonna tell me I don't know how to drive either one.
You thought you had clutch engagement challenges before.
That'll just
This is,
like go.
Yeah, it's like an on-off switch. So this is cerametallic material. The other clutches that we were watching Lupe put together, those are organic friction material. This is cerametallic. This is pretty much racing only. You don't want to, this is very on-off switchy. But I mean, we do everything from mild to wild. So.
I mean, I can feel the sticky at the very bottom. The pedal, you can feel it kind of not returning right.
When you're pushing on the
It's-
floor.
Yeah, it seemed to engage and disengage at the same point.
Yeah. Like I describe it as like taffy when you put it to the floor sometimes.
Yeah,
like it gets sticky.
right. Yeah,
Like
no,
if
we
you
can
really
feel that.
shove it down and then
Right.
you,
Well, we can feel that. So
that's good. GPI.
GPI. Yeah.
That was the Arkansas,
Yeah.
and we reinstalled it all.
Yeah. It looks like they did a great job. So it's good.
Oh my God, it feels so different. Like instantly. Holy, it actually just goes. It doesn't like have that lag anymore. It feels like a whole different car. I don't understand how it feels so different. This is insane. It feels like how it should, like, dang. I don't know if you've been in the car with me, but like usually when I start going, I usually just like stall. I have like
that was smooth.
I have no words. I'm not even trying. Like I'm trying to make it stall, and it's not stalling on me anymore. Like if I would have driven it like that before, the car would have stalled. Like you usually have to give it a ton of gas and like rev through the clutch a lot.
Airplane. Sweet, Mia.
Oh my god, I can't believe how different it is. It makes me so happy.
Does it feel differently?
It's like completely
Like
different.
a brand new like a brand new car.
It feels like stock again. Oh my gosh. This makes me so happy. It's like actually easy to drive.
I can tell the difference just by riding it.
Can you?
Yeah.
Because before it would kind of
was
like,
like,
it would be like, and I'd have to rev it to get it going.
Yeah.
Ah, thank you, CenterForce. So guys, I guess now you gotta buy the correct slave cylinder. It's literally perfect. I'll have to get on it more on the way home, but we know it drives like way better now. Turn the wheel this way.
Pretty car, so clean. It's fun to look at it.
Thank you. Yes, simple, subtle. All right, well, I just got back from the test drive outside of CenterForce. We are in Prescott, Arizona, and I can't even explain how good this car feels from what it felt like before. My mom is behind camera right now, and she rode in the car with me, and she was absolutely shocked on how much better it felt. Before it was bucking a lot, it was uncomfortable to drive. I kept stalling at lights. To fix this issue, they replaced the slave cylinder with the CenterForce slave cylinder, which will be coming out in the near future. So I will let you guys know when that comes out, but I'm kind of the test car for this new product. The GPI slave cylinder insert piece that I have, it works great, absolutely, if you guys are putting in a new clutch. The only problem is you're mixing an aftermarket part with an OEM part, so sometimes those don't work as one. So this is a good way to replace the whole entire unit altogether, so you don't really mess with it. On top of replacing the slave cylinder, I'm gonna bring you guys in the motor real quick and show you guys this line that they replaced. You can come all the way back here. And you can see the stainless steel line right underneath there. And then it actually has like a heat wrap down in there. From factory, that is a rubber line, and that brings your brake fluid / clutch fluid out of this reservoir into the slave cylinder. So now that's a braided line. Similar to like how a brake line works, I also recommended in the past to replace these with like braided stainless steel lines, because rubber kind of like opens and like contracts, expands in heat, and it's also prone to cracking or exploding in Arizona heat. So when you replace it with a stainless line, the fluid doesn't really have the room to expand, so it's very direct and your engagement will happen a lot faster. I wish I could have you guys experience the way the clutch feels in the car, but it is 100 times better. It doesn't feel as heavy, and it feels like how a car should feel OEM, so I'm very happy. And thank you, CenterForce, so much for fixing these issues. Again, it doesn't have anything to do with the CenterForce clutch. This was purely a slave cylinder issue, and I'm very grateful that CenterForce is such a wonderful company to make sure it wasn't the clutch and to fix the issue of my slave cylinder. So I'm excited to enjoy this car. Now we're gonna head back home, and I'm gonna go beat on the car a little bit, beat on the clutch, make sure there's no more issues just in case. I tend to break things pretty easily, so I will see you guys at home. But thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you all have an amazing day or night, whatever time it is, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.